So 1 year ago Tuesday, the Pirates promoted Braxton Ashcraft to the major leagues and he made his debut. And while he was really high flying and people liked the stuff, there was the questions about the injuries and what his role would be with this team. He was a wild card. Here we are a year later. This guy is pretty special. Good morning and welcome to OffBeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf, and this is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates. And like so many times this year, we are reacting to a quality start from Braxton Ashcraft, who was dominant again. And it was a little different than what we normally seen from him. Like usually whenever he goes breaking ball heavy, it's the curveball. On Tuesday, it was the slider. Dude, 42% of the time, the most in a start that he's had since last year. And really, any outing last year, it was basically out of the bullpen that he was thrown at this often. He showed that he could throw breaking pitches in the zone enough that he can lean on it. We knew he can do this, but it's always refreshing to see a young pitcher just attack the zone and win that way. He did that in spades on Tuesday. And we have seen that a lot this year from him. This is a guy who, I say this full well knowing that if the Pirates are going to be sending any pitcher to the All-Star game, it is going to be Paul Skeens. But whenever you have a guy with a 2.75 ERA who has been really consistent this whole year, I'm just saying, I think he would be worthy of some consideration. I'm not exactly optimistic that he'll get the nod, but he's pitching like someone who deserves that consideration. That consideration of you are one of the National League's best. And he has been. I've talked about how he's probably the number 2 starter on this team. I think that's pretty well established that he is, and no shame in being number 2 behind Paul Skeens. And the way he is able to attack, it's something that I don't know if I would have seen a year ago. I know I've talked about this a little bit, but my introduction to Braxton Ashcraft, or proper introduction, was in 2023 whenever he got to Altoona, and I started getting messages like, hey, this guy is disgusting. He's gross. You got to check him out. I thought, okay, relief pitcher. He's just had all these injuries. Let's see if he could just let this stuff eat up in the major leagues. Not only can it eat up in the major leagues, he's doing it as a starter. And not only is he doing it as a starter, his stuff holds remarkably well from one inning to another. Like, he's not someone who is going to have these giant velo drops from one inning to another. He is pretty firm. Like, I'm just going to look at the fastball velo. I'm just going to rattle them off by inning. 98.5, 97.6, 97.7, 97.6, 98.4, 96.6, 96.6. We're talking a 2-mile-per-hour range, and really it wasn't until like the 6th inning that it dipped to like 97. He's able to do that stuff, and it makes it intriguing because a year ago, like many people, I saw a reliever. Now it's, yeah, I see a starter. And now it just raises a different question of, can this hold? Because he is going to surpass his inning limit this year. Or inning high, previous inning high. We don't know what the limit is, if there is a limit. I will tell you last year that they thought they had limits. And every single time he was right at that limit, it's like, you know what? The stuff still really looks good. The stuff really still plays. He's feeling fine. Metrically, it looks great. Let's push him a little further. And that kept happening last year, time and time again. And you know what? It's probably beneficial that they did, because the jump that he would make in a perfect world is probably only possible because he took a pretty big jump in innings last year. We still have to see how many innings he ends up throwing, how many opportunities he gets. But like, I think this is the type of guy who could go 160 innings in a season for a variety of reasons. One being, not every inning is created equal. You could look at a guy like an outing like Tuesday, 6 1/3 innings, 95 pitches. Now, there's a lot of different ways you could get those 95 pitches. You can have, that 30 pitch inning in the middle of the game, and then just some quick, efficient innings. But that's different stress than what Ashcraft has been doing, which innings don't seem to go on terribly long. If he gets into a jam, he seems to have a knack to get the double play or get a quick out or just try to prevent those long innings, which is really important because that's less stress. 95 pitches. If you're throwing 16 pitches an inning, that's a lot less stress than a couple innings where you're throwing 30. Even if the pitch count is the same, he paces himself well. He's able to accomplish that. He's able to throw all his pitches in the zone, which is so rudimentary to pitching. I get it. But not only is he throwing strikes, he's got to be able to get quick outs. It's why in a game that basically meant nothing, in the top of the 7th, like the Pirates had built a 7-run lead. It was pretty comfortable at that point. He's still going out there because the pitch count is low. The pitch count is, he hasn't had the high stress innings. And Don Kelly pulled him whenever it was the first time, would be like, yeah, this could be a high stress inning. Now, we could talk about the merits of should he have come out for the 7th inning. I think I would have probably just called it at 6 and called it a day. But whenever he's able to perform the way that he has, yeah, it's not catastrophic. He could keep pitching. He could keep delivering like he has so far. Season's 1/3 done. There's 2/3 still to go. This is a team that has the belief that they could be playing in October, so more season on top of that. You're going to need innings from him. And we have talked about this a lot, about how there are going to be pitchers on the staff who are going to be asked to throw more innings than possible. The more Braxton Ashcraft pitches, the more confident I am that, yeah, he can set a new career high for innings. And yeah, it could probably be a fairly significant jump. I'm not saying 180, 200 or anything, but there are ways to manage this without a 6-man rotation, without him needing to be Phantom IO'd for an extended period of time, or have the shutdown like they did with Roansy Contreras back in 2022. There are ways that it can go about this. And he can continue to be a consistent performer on this team, which they need. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
On Tuesday, Ashcraft threw 10 sliders for the first pitch of an at-bat. 9 of them resulted in strikes. 29 batters faced, 25 first pitch strikes. Like, this is the old school Clint Hurdle, Ray Searage, first pitch strikes, outs on 3 pitches or less type of deal. That's what makes Ashcraft intriguing, because he can beat you with whiffs. He can beat you with stuff. He could get strikeouts. He could go that route. He could also go more sinker heavy and try to get quick outs that way. And it's why I don't think his innings are the same tax as it would be for some other pitchers. I think going through the year last year, he learned a lot about what goes into staying healthy. This off season, he talked about how this is the first time where he wasn't really like rehabbing for an off season. He got to build on what he wanted to work on. He got to focus on stuff like the off-speed pitch, that splitter that he's been throwing around a little more lately. He's killing some spin. I'm liking the drop. It's a nice little, it's a tertiary pitch for his arsenal, but it's like, yeah, that plays. That's a product of being able to go through your work and being able to not have to always rehab, and you had a head of steam. And I think this year has been a product of that. That he got an off season where he was healthy and he was able to build. And I get why health is always going to be a concern for him, just because of his long injury history prior. But I think it has made him better. I think it has helped him learn to pitch better, to attack more relentlessly. I look at this rotation, and all along I've said Paul Skeens and Mitch Keller were the two that I felt comfortable throwing the most innings. And Jared Jones is going to be under a watchful eye whenever he comes back, but he's also missed a third of the season. So I don't think innings are going to be as great an issue for him. It was looking at Braxton Ashcraft. It was looking at Carmen Baginski. It was looking at Bubba Chandler and being like, okay, how could they hold up for a whole year? And we're only going to get an answer for that question whenever we finally reach that juncture. I can't project what everyone's going to look like in July or August. I could just tell you that in Braxton Ashcraft, I see a strong guy who knows how to throw his pitches for strikes, whose velocity has held remarkably well. He has avoided a lot of high-stress innings. I think he's the type of guy who's built for a big increase in innings again, like he was last year. Last year, he constantly proved the pitching team wrong, and they were always mindful with it. It was never reckless, but they always were like, okay, if you're pushing, we'll push with you. And I think that's going to be what happens again this year. Whatever they had in mind, if Ashcraft shows that he's still ready, push him. It's an important year. Candidly, you don't know how many years you're going to be healthy in an off season and healthy at the 1/3 mark of the year. You don't know how many times you're going to get that. And yeah, be mindful. Be always cognizant of his arm health and making sure that he can do this for years to come. But if he has shown you all these green flags like he has so far, you can push him. And the idea of Braxton Ashcraft being pushed is intriguing, because whenever he gets pushed, so far he's shoved. Thank you so much for listening to OffBeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. If you like what you saw, be sure to subscribe wherever you find a podcast, or check us out on YouTube to see Section 322 of PNC Park. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucs.